Welcome to the Viral Ventures podcast. We are the fastest growing startup community anchored in NYU Abu Dhabi, aiming to build the future founders of the Middle East. It's your host, Aknur, and today we have somebody who has spent more than 10 years of his life to the automotive industry, supplying world's leading brands like Lexus, Bentley, Lamborghini, Toyota, Honda, Nissan, and now a founder and a CEO of Enoa Motors, aiming to disrupt the market with its high-tech transformer cars. Please welcome Elvin. Elvin, thank you for joining our podcast today. Can you summarize what we've talked today about?
Thank you again for having me today. It was a pleasure. It's a tricky question to summarize everything that we talked about, but obviously we talk about the future of automotive. We talk about the Enoa vehicles, which is the future of automotive, revolutionizing the way how we live with our vehicles every day. And we spoke about a little bit about motorsport, about the way how we love stuff and automotive industry and my background and what kind of F1 teams are there and what's and all these aspects that actually driven by the people who like automotive industry.
So that's why we urge everybody to come and watch our podcast on our YouTube channel. Please welcome Elvin. Thank you for joining our podcast today.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Yeah, of course. So your startup and your team seem to be building something completely new. Could you please explain and elaborate the problem you're trying to tackle and solve?
It's all started, like I would say, like why we started and how it come actually. So, like I grew up in the basic environment where we're all like cars, like family and friends around. And you always like when you're a kid, it is like something that you want to be always in, like what to watch the defend cars and etc. And then you have your house market, you watch F1 and etc. And then in your somewhere there is like I want to have cars, I want to build cars. And then when you grow up, you're like you start to understand what the branding is meant, like company and etc. You're like, why can I do company which the other thing cars, right? And it just stays there. But like moving forward is just. It started in the moment when, so I wanted a different type of car. It is like I was driving a car, so I need to change the car, and I loved sports cars, and I wanted like two-door car or something. And then I realized like the life is not about only the fast lines, because sometimes you need to move around, sometimes you need to help your friends to move around.
That's true.
Families traveling, your friends moving around. So. For that moment, you need efficiency, a little bit more space. But and then I had to go and buy the sedan because I'm not big on the big SUVs and or something. But then I realized like this is how actually industry works. The industry players for years they actually put the framing around transportation, saying like this is how vehicles should be, and you pay your money to adapt to our products. We will not adapt to your lives, but you will adapt to our products. So that means. In us, we're like, why we cannot do something that we do vehicles which adapts everyday life of people. Like when you need a car that's easy to drive in the urban areas, park on the parking lot, you have it. But if you want to move around, help your friend to move from place to place, your family's traveling, just press the button and the vehicle becomes bigger when you need it. And you need that not all the time in your life. I know people who are driving huge SUVs because once or twice they need that space. So why you need to have an inefficient vehicle all the time, where you can have something that's comfortable, but at the same time it's basically mix the two things. It's like efficiency and utility, basically of the different segments. So with that in mind, we started working around the idea, and it was me and my co-founder Anastasia first. We started working around what we can do and etc. And it come to the moment like what we can work in B2B as well. And then I invited our third co-founder, our CTO. Amrit, and when he heard the idea and how it can be and why we have these problems and etc., he was like, "This is brilliant. Let's just make that happen." So we're working on it.
Awesome.
Let's go those.
Yeah, incredible idea. Actually, it's completely new, and I'm just curious who else in the market worldwide is trying to tackle the same problem. We've heard that maybe Renault, right, it unveiled its shape-shifting concept car called Morphos in 2020. But what are the other players that you were competing basically with?
Yeah, so the thing that is The Renault just basically, we were working on it like for extra short.
Oh, really?
Like I think 2021 or something like that. So ideas to that came earlier.
Yeah.
And then we sort of were like, oh, that's cool, because someone has that kind of mindset. Like, you need to do something in the industry because the industry is static. There are nothing, like you guys drove maybe here, you see all the cars look same. All of them look same.
Yeah.
Different. So speaking about competition, in this segment, there are no competition because we would like to create a different type of segment of the vehicles, like modular on-demand segment vehicles. So on that segment, you don't have competition. But on the segment of sustainable, like vehicles or transportation, obviously the companies who's targeting to have electric vehicles, hydrogen vehicles, so they're our competitors.
So you're kind of finding this blue ocean, right? The whole new market, right?
Exactly.
Awesome.
We are creating blue.
Nice. Okay. So Elon Musk, when he was, of course, he's very tightly related to automotive industry, right? He was one of the people who is disrupting in the industry with Tesla. And on his early stages, he proposed this essay on the 10-year strategy that he thinks he's going to implement throughout the timeline. And he was saying like how they're going to start from the luxury cars, low volume, then they're going to generate some revenue, use it for higher volume, but more affordable cars.
So they get money and invest in a lot.
Yeah, true. So we were just curious, what kind of strategy do you have for the next 10 years, 5 years, and what kind of milestones you're already hitting right now? What kind of stage are you in?
That's a great question, because being from the industry, like we know like how we need to plan it properly in terms of, obviously you cannot make it everything 100% accurate because you don't know what's going to happen in a year or two, right? And building a startup, it's always question mark, what's tomorrow? It doesn't matter what strategy you put down, there are always something that's going to happen. But I will not be lying if I will say we have a stretch till 2040. So we have a complete strategy on the way how, and we'll build it based on the phases, we're calling it. So we were starting with the phases, and we are now on the phase 1A, where we're raising the money to actually move to the phase 1B. The 1B phase is where the production starts. So we're on the 1A, where we're developing the vehicle, getting the investment to actually move it to the full concept to show to people around, and then move to the, like, building a supply chain, etc. So we're on that stage. Taking money from the expensive car, putting on the budget car, it's a normal thing in the automotive industry.
Yeah.
Because people launch the higher end car to generate the money to invest in the low marginal car. So that's normal, but we have different type of approach because we believe like the car should be affordable and sustainable in the same time. So that's why our target is the range of the vehicle should start from $44,000 to $5,000 in our case.
Awesome. Okay. So you before the recording, actually, you mentioned that you're going through this incubation program. Could you talk about that more? How much are you raising? Are you approaching VCs? How is the process going?
I mean, raising money for the startup is one of the most complicated things that you can do.
Of course.
And the raising money for the hardware developing startup, it's the hardest thing that you can do because everyone wants to invest in the software companies because ROI can be done like in a 6-7 months. So the complexity of raising money for the company like we're trying to do and we are doing is that return on investment for the investors is 5 to 6, 7 years because there are development, there are safety regulations, there are crash tests, and etc. So all that should be done until you get your first revenue. So we're in the incubator who believed in us. It's a mix of, it's a heritage in Dubai and it's a Scotland, the business in Scotland. So we're in incubator, it's 12 months, around 12 months incubator. So we're on the final stage. We'll be a demo day soon. So we hope it will last. We're confident because we know what we're doing.
Nice. So we wish all the best on the demo, of course. Yeah. So the UAE is very popular for its secondary automotive market, right? But how do you see its future in actually manufacturing process of this new high-end cars, which might be disrupting the whole sector?
Yeah, I think But if you take it this way, right, the biggest car brands are based in US, Europe, and now you see China as well.
Yeah.
Before Chinese brands, they were like sort of just the local market oriented brands. And if you will see, like a few years ago, it was like over 300 startups and vehicle manufacturing companies in China, which government then shut down 50% and linked them together. Like being basically successful in that market is so difficult, and when they're successful they go outside, basically. Like now BYD is going UAE and Middle East and Europe and US, for example. So UAE is one of the biggest business hubs in the world right now, and they're growing. And if you will see the country, it's beautiful and it has everything that you need, any technologies, anything. Did you ever pay something in cash? I don't remember when the last time I had a cash, in my pocket. So having all that, we believe United Arab Emirates also need some technological, revolutionized automotive brand like Enoa in this region, which will go globally, from the United Arab Emirates. And having that sort of design in UAE, I was like, this is something that we would like to actually accomplish in this market. So for us, it's important.
Awesome. And with your extensive expertise, you've worked in different companies and now you're building your own, we'd like to kind of zoom out a bit.
Yeah.
And can you share your opinion on the landscape that is changing in UAE? Maybe you've kind of gathered some insider information maybe about the shifts that are happening to the global automotive industry. What is the world going to, and how the automotive industry is going to look like in maybe next 10 to 20 years?
Right. The automotive industry is, I would say, so conservative in terms of big, huge changes immediately. It takes time. Even if you will see the vehicles, you drive some vehicle, it's actually before you go to showroom now, but the vehicle was designed and engineered 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
So saying how world was go, definitely more sustainable. It has to be. But in Enoa, we believe that the sustainable way of moving, it's not only electric, pure battery electric, but it's also might be higher than electric vehicles as well. So that's why the platform that we're developing, it actually can accommodate both, or this or that technologies. Why? Because we believe if someone will take a lead and will start deploying the hydrogen refueling infrastructure, as we are seeing with the charging infrastructure, you will have more and more cars with that. So we believe one company cannot drive sustainable way of the transportation, and that cannot be only one way of the sustainable way of moving the basically technology. So everyone should work around. If we're talking about sustainable, it's not about you or me, we're going to buy electric car, but it's more than we need infrastructure, we need renewable energy, we need X, Y, Z to make that transportation really sustainable. The electric vehicles right now, as per unit on the road, they're the most efficient, most sustainable product on the road right now.
But there's still a long way to go, of course.
And make it. But I see the transition, and we all see the transition. Of course, the battery pricing must go crazy up, but people forgetting that and comparing it with internal combustion engines. And internal combustion engine, this is the end of development. You cannot do more than you have now. But the electric vehicle is just the beginning of the journey, and they will get better and better, more efficient, and etc. So the future is great and more sustainable. We believe in it.
Awesome. We believe in that too. So what would you, as an early founder, recommend to young founders who have such disruptive ideas, maybe in the world or just MENA region in general?
Just do it. Just do it. Don't think about that, how I will do it. My name is John, my name is Emil, my name is whatever. I'm just the guy or I'm just the girl. Just, you have the idea, you think you can do it, you do your research. You have to be prepared to any questions that you will have in front of you. But also be prepared that people will laugh on your face or behind your back. But when you're successful, they will be praising you. It will be the same people. So you need to be focused on your idea. You need to crack the walls, do it. And if you do that and it's not successful, you will never regret that you didn't try. So just do it. That's it.
Awesome advice. And Comparing the hardware industry and the software, which is booming right now, I wonder, like creating a software company is pretty much more straightforward than creating a hardware company. Of course, you do customer development, you talk to users, as YC says, right? Do what people love. You get feedback, you iterate, you create a new prototype. And here with such kind of novel ideas, how do you actually approach people? How do you talk to them? How do you even talk to them? What kind of techniques do you use to actually understand what people would want in the future? How does this work?
It's a great question because, as you said, the VCs and the world is focused around the software because it's easy to deploy, to get the feedback, and then run at scale quickly. Hardware is possible to also scale quickly, but you need a bit more effort for that. So speaking about our way, how we did, because we cannot put it in an app store and see the traction and get the information on that. So we had to do old school way, how we were doing usually, asking questions, doing interviews, and doing surveys with. So we asked random drivers, random people who own the vehicles with this kind of thing, this vision. When we're talking face to face, we're talking online, we're talking to B2B companies, some of them, like what they say, how they feel, what problem they face. So we did old school style. I was better. I would say this amount of time for that to understand, like, okay, we have that, and we have a proof that problem. People don't think about that problem until you tell them, like, this is there. And they were like, yes, we want to use that kind of product, let's about with it. So the hardware, it's also, like, we need to have that feeling. We need to have an even expertise of data, basically profile, but also we need to have a feeling like, if it's really great product or your big feature for the future. If it doesn't add value to the people everyday lives and the way how they live with the product, maybe it doesn't make sense to do it. But in our case, we see and we have a feedback that it can change the way how people live with the vehicles and how that product adapts to their life.
Awesome. At the end of each episode, we have this tradition to ask blitz questions.
Okay.
We ask question, you just need to answer in a couple of words.
Short.
So, yeah, short. Electric engine or a combustion engine?
Rules. Like, I love electric, but I want to brand that I love the way how they're doing it. They're loving much. I cannot answer short to this question.
Of course, take your time. Yeah.
I would say, if we're talking about an internal combustion engine, then our brands will be made perfect, and I wish them to have both all the time, but make it more sustainable. Because there are fuels, biofuels, and internal they can play around it. But if you ask me, I will go with electric because that's a sustainable way, and we need the sustainability to the world.
Awesome. Okay, what about electric versus hydrogen energy?
That's actually tough. I cannot say more about, like, as I said, I'll prefer to have both options on the market because that's how you drive sustainability with different options, different possibilities.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll shoot for it. I guess.
Okay. Yeah, of course, a creative answer. Yeah. What's your favorite car brand?
What was that?
What's your favorite car brand apart from Enoa Motors?
Yeah, that's a bit. My favorite car brand is difficult because every brand and every model that I see, I connect them to something. Like, if I talk about the Ferrari, it's the way how they were car spinning motorsport before and now, the way how everything moves around, and what kind of drivers they have, and they're adding now as well. Like, we all know there's Hamilton really bad.
Yeah.
So they have the best of the best. Like, for me, the automotive brand is not only like I see the fancy stuff, but I see like history, and I see the way how they're designing products and all that stuff. But if I will take one brand which actually I love, I would say it's Porsche.
Oh, nice. I would say Porsche as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. This might be a bit of let me just ask it. Okay. NASCAR or Formula One?
No.
Okay. Let's just go into it. Formula One, which is your favorite team and driver?
All right. So as I said in the beginning, I grew up with you're from Kazakhstan, right?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
After we played, right?
Yeah.
We grow up in our age, like my age, and we grow up with understanding that there are the best in the world. We can't show like, and then when you have that, like we've been saying, right? It's why I'm so fast that you forget about words.
Yeah, we do. I do that to my mom when she starts accelerating.
Saying that to me as well. That is actually like you have this thing saying like this is the best driver. Kind of where do you want to the Ferrari? So for me, like there are Red Bulls doing great things now. They have, I think, the best car as is now. Mercedes was doing that thing as well, right? But Ferrari for me is like Real Madrid in the football. Like it's iconic brand of the Formula One. If I'm going to drive it, I want to get back team. So I would say Ferrari is the best team, right?
Awesome.
But for me, it's always Schumacher. What loses over two?
Good choice. So, and last question. If you had a chance to take your transformative car to a road trip anywhere in the world, where would that be?
Like, enemies. I would go to see my family and my parents and the stuff. But I will go there.
Awesome. All right. Thank you very much for the podcast episode. Thank you for the listeners. This was a Wild Adventures podcast, and have a good day.
Thank you so much. Thank you a lot.
Thank you. You too.